Is there anything else? Oh, okay, got it. I can't touch that one. I will be, even though I'm here, I'm looking over this way, because this is where my computer monitor is, and this is where you all are. So I'm looking at that to see you. So I won't be looking here too much, but this is where you'll need to look, is just on this screen here with my hands. That's what I'll be drawing. I'll try to zoom out a little bit. Some of you know the routine already. We're just going to do some heads today, faces and heads, expressions, but it's the same thing I did in the last group, but this one's going to be a bit more advanced because you guys are older and you should be able to handle it, hopefully. Okay, so let's get into it. Make sure you've got paper, an eraser, pencils. I've just got like a small stack of paper here all on top of each other, about 10 pieces. Let's start. So I'm going to start with a circle. Just draw that sort of in the middle of your page. It doesn't have to be perfect, just sketchy, because we want to start. The worst thing about drawing is having a blank page. You want to put stuff on your page so that you have something to work with. So like I just had a blank page there, like, oh, I don't know what I want to draw. Now I've got a circle. I was like, oh, I've got something to work with. I can turn it into a lot of things. So I'm going to turn it into a face. So first thing I'm going to do is draw a vertical line through the middle and go a bit further down, because this is just the cranium. So just the top part of your head, sort of from your top teeth and where your brain is. And then the other bit we're going to draw is the jaw, which is underneath your bottom teeth and the side bits there. So I've got that line through my circle. I'm going to pick a point, not too far, it's probably a quarter or a third. It depends on the character you're drawing. Some might have really small chins, some might have really big chins. So I'm just going to put a mark in there. That's the bottom of my chin. And then I'm going to draw some diagonal lines going back. Like that. That's going to be the side of the jaw line. And then mine's a bit off center. Then I'm going to draw lines up, not straight lines. See how mine go out a little bit like that? So that's the basic shape of the head. And if you wanted, you could rub out the bottom of that circle. Like that. So that's my basic head shape. That's what I'm going to work with, but I'll just show you some others here. So I could have drawn that circle and I could have had a really small chin, which is a bit more like an anime character with the big eyes, you know, that kind of thing. Or I could have done one with a really big jaw, like that. So someone with like a cartoony kind of character with a big, his nose, a big mouth like an ogre or a big lion or something like that. So you can draw different ones. I've just sort of got one roughly in between. I've got a fairly big chin as well. You could do more of a pointy chin. So it just comes to a point like that. It's a bit more childlike or feminine. I think I don't like mine quite as wide. I'm going to taper it down a bit, but still keep it a bit flat there. So there's nothing wrong with erasing and going back and changing things. Just don't get crazy about it. Nothing has to be perfect. Okay. So we've got the measurement of top to the bottom. So let's just draw lines out to the side. That's going to keep us a little grid for us to keep track of things, because we want to find halfway. Make sense? So you're finding the top and the bottom, and you want to find the halfway point. just about there. And then draw a horizontal line through. Can't see, mine's a bit light. This pencil is light. I don't know what it is. It's not a 2B, that's for sure. Just going to zoom in a bit on that head so you can see a bit clearer. Okay, so this is going to be the eye line. So let's find halfway between the middle and the side. And that's roughly where we're going to draw our eye. Just put in a rough circle. And then from the middle to the side on the other side of the head, another circle. Excuse me. Keep drinking water. But I can't get rid of this tickle. Okay. I think because of lockdown, I haven't been talking to anyone. And now I'm doing a lot of talking. Okay. So next thing, this is a really good way to remember how to draw heads. Everything's halves. So remember we drew the circle and then we halved it. Then we drew the chin and then we halved it. Now again, in this bottom section, below the eyes to the chin, I'm going to find halfway again. That's going to be where our nose, the bottom of our nose is going to be. Hang on a second. Phone's about to die. Okay. So you could actually draw in. You could rough in like a little circle at the bottom there. Depends on the kind of nose you want to draw. To turn into a bit of a triangle. Make some nostrils, just little bumps on the side. And I'm just going to take my glasses off for a second. One, because I've got an itchy eye. But two, I want you to touch your nose, side of your nose. And if you run your finger up the side of your nose, I'll lean a bit closer, it becomes your eyebrow. You can sort of come up and find where your eyebrow sits. And also while you're there feeling around your eyebrow, come down a little bit towards your eye. Don't press too hard, but you can feel where the bone stops. If you close your eye, you can sort of feel your eyeball inside and feel the bone all the way around. And that's your eye socket. So if you're drawing a skeleton or a skull, you have a big socket like that, one for your nose. If you can see that one. There we go. Socket like that. I've got to hold my camera down while I do this. So your skull looks like this. And you've got this big eye socket and a hole there where your nose comes out. So the bone you can feel on top, where your eyebrow is the top of the eye socket. And the bottom bone is actually your cheekbone. So you can feel that in there. You can feel your eye socket and your cheekbone. It's important to know skeletons and anatomy when you're drawing characters. The eye socket's actually a lot bigger than that. And your eyeball sits inside the eye socket. And then you have skin coming around it, your eyelids, that hold it in. So even though your eyeball is a sphere, like this, so that's the colored section, in the middle there. There's the pupil, that's the iris, and that's the eyeball. Let me grab a different color. This way? Yes. Okay. So your eyelid sort of sits like this. So that's why when you look at people's eyes, they sort of look like they're almond shape, because you're just not seeing any of this stuff. It's all hidden inside your head. But it's good to know how the eye is actually made up so you can draw it correctly. Okay, back to the face. So yeah, following that line of the nose up and above the eye, you can curl it out and figure out where the brow's going to sit. Like that. Okay, so now we're going to come from halfway from the underneath the nose to the chin. About there. So again, it's another half. And this is roughly where the mouth goes. It's usually, it depends on how big you want to draw the chin, but it's usually this little shadow under here, under the lip that you get there. That's usually what that indicates. But if you just draw sort of an oval shape, however big you want your lips to be, there we go. Sort of get a good idea of where it's going to fit. Okay, so this one, next thing, the ears doesn't fit into the halves, but if you get your thumb and your first finger and you put it around your ear, like top and bottom of your ear, and then slide that around to the front of your face, it should sort of fit there between your eyebrows and under your nose, roughly. So thumb and finger, measure your ear, slide it around, sort of fits there. See that? So that's going to give you a rough indication of where those ears are going to fit. So under the nose line we already have. Do one sort of in the middle of the brow there. So I've got these boxes now on the side of the head that are where the ears are going to fit. Some people you don't see their ears on the side, some people they stick out a bit. So it's sort of up to you how you draw them. They don't have to fill that whole area, they can just sort of be in there somewhere, as long as they exist. And then the last little marker we're going to put on before we do details is the hairline. So you can see like my hairline is a lot further back, especially up here, because that's where I'm going bald. But usually the hairline will start roughly halfway, a bit more than half actually, from this center point to the top of the head, a bit more than half. Sometimes it's straight, slightly curved. Sometimes it comes to a point. I'm just looking at everyone here. I don't think anyone here has a point hairline that I can see. Everyone looks like it just goes round. And then it goes back. And then as if that's where you start balding, it comes forward again at the temple, which is just here, just near your eyebrow, near the top of your head there. So we can have the hair go back and then come forward a bit above the eyebrows. Now this is just the hairline. Depending on the hairstyle, it's going to change. And then of course the neck is going to be slightly thinner than the jaw. All right, once you've done that, hold it up and let me have a look, see how you're going. Nathaniel, that's good. Zippy and Zeke, that's really nice, that's a good job. iPad, I don't know, you can change your name, because I don't know what your name is, it just says iPad. Bianca, that's good. Oh my goodness. What's that? Stash Up. I was like, what is all that? Your name there. Liam, cool, yeah. That's all good. All right, okay. Excuse me. Let's put some more detail in here. I'm going to swap pencils to one that I hope is a little bit darker. That's a 2B, okay. I don't normally swap pencils, but actually this one is so terrible, I'm going to throw it out. I don't like light pencils, I only like dark pencils. So I'm going to zoom in. It just means move my camera closer because this doesn't actually have a zoom. And I am going to, let's focus on the eye. Now, I've drawn circles there to show where the eye is going to go, but let me just come over here. An eye is actually 5 lines. it's a good way to break it down. So if your nose is here, N-O-S-E. Oh, hang on, let me move. It's stuck on my ruler. Okay, so your nose is here, and you've got an eye on this side and an eye on this side. So we put the circle there, right? That's where our eyes go. You do one line, so we're working from the corner of the eye, the inside corner of the eye. 1, 2, 3, sort of even lines, and then a small one, and then a long one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, of course, it's opposite on the other side. I should have drawn that over. I can draw it over 2 pages. Hang on. So the other one goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then within that, you can draw the circle of the eye, the pupil. That makes sense? So they don't have to be straight, but just think of those 5 angles, those 5 lines, and I can see that Fung is actually working on that. I'm going to get back to this one, and I'll do it properly. I've moved my camera down so far, it's sort of in my way now. So I'm thinking of those 3 angles at the top, and I'm just sort of curving them a little bit. 1, 2, 3. And then a short one and a long one. And then I'll put in the pupil and the iris. I might leave a little gap for our highlight. Everyone see that? I'll try and copy that on the other side. We're going for time, okay. It's shiny on one side of this. I'll hold it up. There we go. So on the top, you can draw the crease of the eyelid, or even on the bottom if you want to show a bit of the bag under the eye, or the bottom eyelid. It's just adding more and more detail to it. This eye is a bit smaller than that one. Smaller than that one. But then you can add eyelashes and just do little whips sticking out. Lash, lash, lash. Lash, lash, lash. How's everyone going? Keeping up with that? Or am I moving too fast? Or is it good? Thumbs up if it's good. Lucas is good. Yeah, okay. All right. So let's start. I still don't know if this is going to be a male or a female. Can't tell right now. I haven't made up my mind yet. So usually you don't draw down both sides of the nose. You'll see that a lot in anime. They'll only have sort of a line coming down one side. Usually, let's pretend that the sun is over this way. So it's shining light that way. So there's going to be light on this side and darkness on here. So I'm going to do the line on my nose coming down this way. And that's sort of going to add to shadow and things like that. And I might trace around the nostrils, put those in, make it a little darker on the bottom side there. You don't have to put too much detail into the nose at all. I'm actually going to start rubbing out some lines to show you that you don't have to put in as much. Still looks like a nose, even though I've only got the nostrils and that line. But I liked having that sort of shape here, so I'm just going to put that back in. Maybe I could shade it a little with some hatching. That's just lines. I don't think that's going to show up. No, I just did some really light lines going stroke, 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 like that. And it'll just help it look like it's in shadow. So even up here, even though I don't have the line, I could do some of that shading. There's just a bunch of lines there. Trying to get it so it's not in the shadow of the camera. And I can't. Okay, so I can then think about the shape of the eyebrows, how long I want them, how thick I want them, how bushy I want them. I'll make it a bit thicker towards the middle and then they thin out. And try and make them equal on both sides. And then I might even, oh, what I forgot to do was the shading in the eye. So on the top of the eye, the iris, just trying to forget, I forgot which was which. Just sort of shade in the top and then you can make it lighter as it comes down. But remember to leave a little bit for that highlight. You want to leave that white. So it could be a little darker at the top and then sort of fades as it comes down. It's a bit hard to see on this camera. Okay, let's move down to the mouth. Let's try and get this in the shot. About as close as it's going to get. I'm sorry for coughing. Okay, so if you look at your face, get close to the camera. Thanks, Isaac. That's exactly what we want. So you can see, actually, everyone look at Isaac. That's really good. The little bit that's in just straight under his nose and it joins up to the little dip in his top lip. That's the bit we want to put in next. So it's usually just a little sort of curve shape like that, and then the lip underneath is curved, so it's like a little V or a U in there. Thanks, Isaac. You can go back to normal. Big help. And so then what I've drawn there is both lips together. Just going to turn this around because that's the way my hand works, so I'm left-handed. I'm sort of going to lightly split this in half. So it looks like it's got two big fish lips. But I'm going to sort of curl it up into a slight smile on either side. And then dip down in the middle a bit. Now everyone's lips are different. This is just the way I do them. But depends on even the nationality of the person and their sort of their heritage, stuff like that. Traditionally, people with the African heritage have fuller lips. I think European, sort of like the English side, have thinner lips. Some people have big pouty lips. Some people might just have one big bottom lip. So it depends on the character you're drawing or the person you're drawing to. You might be drawing from a photo or something. So just look at the reference and yeah, draw from that. So I've got that sort of curve in there. I don't know if you can see that too well. And then I'm just going to hold this camera with this hand and draw with this one. I'm going to, oh, camera's in the way, sort of come up from that corner and join up. So sort of curving it down go concave and then convex, if you know the difference. I'm just going to put a few lines in there to give it some texture. Can't really see those. Okay. And then for the bottom lip, what I do is in the middle, I'll draw a curve like that, looks like a little sad face. So it's for that little bit underneath. And then, so that'll be convex. And then I'll do a concave curve around to meet up the other one. So it makes the lip a little fuller. So this looks more feminine to me now, this face. So I don't know if that's any help. But again, the best thing you can do to help your drawing is to have reference. So always look at books, look at photos, look at real people. Even if you're drawing people walking, yeah, go and watch people walking. Go and sketch people at food courts and things like that. So I do that quite often with my friends when we can get out. I'll go sit around Town Hall in Sydney, or go to a food court around there, and we'll just sit there with a sketchbook. So it looks like we're just having books and having our lunch, or got books in front of us while we're having lunch. But actually, I'm looking past my friend and drawing people over there, and my friend will be looking past me to draw people. So life drawing is really fun. We should do that. We actually might try that in one of these classes. Actually, I might get some. What if I can get a model? I'll look into that. Okay, so we've got all the major facial features happening. Trying to get this back in shot. There we go. Sorry, my lighting is not good today. Okay, major facial features. So now we can sort of fill out the face. And I don't want her to have as big a jaw here. So I'm just going to sort of round that off a bit more. Remember I spoke about having a more pointed chin. Sorry, I'm totally covering up what I'm doing, but I can't draw it any other way. I'm just sort of rounding this off a bit. See, if I was drawing from someone, I would have fixed this up in the beginning, but I'm actually just drawing from memory, which is exactly what I told you guys not to do. Draw from reference, it's always good. You could, I remember I spoke about the cheekbone that's in there. So if you wanted to, you could emphasize the cheekbone and you could shade it in, kind of thing like that. If you wanted her to have big cheekbones in like that, but I don't, but that's one way you can do it. But I'm going to leave one side like that, and one side I will just do normal. Well, without it, I should say. So the head sort of comes in a little bit near the eyes and where that cheek would be. So you could just put in a shade instead. You don't have to draw the whole line. So this shading I did just by half a dozen little lines, and then I smudged it with my finger. So I've got a dirty finger. It's really red. Just smudge on the end. And then I want to put in the detail for the ears. So I'm just tracing around the ear for now. And then look at an ear for reference, but I know some. They have this little ridge along the top, curves around. You have a little button, little bit still sticks up there. And then you've got the lobe at the bottom. That's where your ears are normally pierced there at the bottom there. And then the holes in further, and you have another little ridge on it in there. But you can put as much or as little detail in your ears as you want. I'll just do this one. as well. I mean, depending on the hairstyle, you might not see the ears at all. But if you do, whatever you do in one, usually do in the other as well. Okay. So neck. I'll put a little shading under the neck, just to make the head stand out a little bit more. And shade that around there. So just rubbing my finger on the picture. I don't want to fill in the whole thing, but sort of smudging those lines. So I didn't do any shading in here, just because I had lines in there for detail. I just ran my finger over them and they're adding shading. So if I leave the cheek, do around the eye and down the nose, it's making it look like she's got some light hitting her face. No. That's all just done with my finger. A dry finger. Don't ever wet your finger or spit on it to do it because you ruin the paper. Do it with a dry finger. Okay, so hair. Let me come out wider. Nope, camera is not. Hang on. When I move my camera, it turns itself off sometimes. Okay, so hair. Let me just readjust myself. I'm now sitting on my foot. So hair is coming out. This is the very side of the edge of the hair. That's the last bits of hair. The hair's coming out all over the top of the head here. Also, you don't, if someone has the hair down, it's not flat to the scalp. So the hair's always going to be up high. Okay, my phone is about to die. I don't know why that is. Give me a second. It's plugged in. I don't understand why. Okay. So yeah, hair always has a volume to itself. So it's always going to be away from the head. Like look at my hair. It's huge, but it's not flat on my scalp. It sticks up, even if it's down. So you then think about what you want to do with the hair, which way you're going to style it. Does a character have a part in the middle, part on the side, no part at all? Do they have a fringe? So it's totally up to you how you're going to draw it. But why don't I try and do something where the hair is down on one side and up on the other? So I pretend that she has a part starting here. I'm just going to lightly draw hair coming out. You see that one? Like that. And then I might make it wavy in front of her face. So this does mean that everything I've just drawn on this side is going to then be rubbed out. But this is giving me a chance to then think about the hair being parted and coming up like that, higher than the scalp. And I know that it's going to sort of follow that same wobbly, she's got sort of wavy or curly hair. And then I can draw some other curvy lines. I'm just going to rub out the head. I'm not going to rub out the ear that we've drawn. Rub out the head lines. So you can sort of see that there. I'll put some dark shading there, some shading at the bottom of this. How that sound? So I can smudge it up. But yeah, you can draw in some other lines, some other wibbly bits. You can have some bits sort of sticking out if her hair is a bit messy. Make sure you draw like hairs coming from the top. And a good way to show shading too, if you're just going to do pencils, I'm just going to go to another section for a second. It's a way of hatching. So see how I'm just drawing all these lines. We'll draw lines this way as well. So, oh, sorry, you can't see that. See how there's lines and there's a gap in the middle. So imagine this is a highlight. Highlight. And then over here is going to be the dark. And down here is going to be dark. So I want to go from white to grayish to black. So you can do that coloring in, or you can do it with hatching. So you can see how I've got gaps between all those lines. If I draw more lines, but don't go all the way, I'll stop. And that means I'm sort of filling in those white gaps. It's making it a bit darker. So you see how it goes white, sort of gray, and then darker. Or if I just colored in that whole section there, it's going to be black. So that's a way that you can do a gradient with hatching, and to show highlights in hair and things like that. So that's just a rough guide of that. But if I was doing it up here, just in this section here, so I've got all these little lines coming up. Say I want to highlight sitting on the top of the head here. See that, how it sort of looks shiny on the top of her head? And then I can make it even darker down here. Give it a little bit of a smudge. So it's just a little trick you can do to sort of make things look like they blend in and they merge. So yeah, like if she was bald on this side, you could fill in her head, the scalp a bit. And you could just use that hair outline as a guide. You could even put dotted, like as if she's got stubble. That kind of thing. Looks like she shaved half her head now. How long have we got? About 20 minutes. Okay, let's try and draw a head from the side. So we're doing roughly the same thing. So I'm just going to move this over. Is everyone finished with that one? Thumbs up if you're finished, or thumbs up if you're not finished. No, so everyone's finished. Oh, Zippy Ziggy, that looks good. I'm going to put that one like that. All right, yeah, everyone show me what you've done for that one, for that head, the front face. Isaac, that's funny, because it's just the drawing's head. Leon, that's really good. Nathaniel, yeah, that's good too. Ethan, that's good. Bianca, nice, yeah. Stasha, yeah. Adolfo, yeah. I don't know your name, it just says iPad 414091, which I think is the code to get into this one. Can you hold that a bit closer? Oh, nice. Yeah, cool. Good job. And the other iPad, that's really good too. All right, you can change that to be your actual name. I'm not sure how, but you can. Sorry, I haven't been in the chat zone. Hope no one's been asking questions in the chat. Okay. All right, so we're going to do, sorry, another circle. Pull this out a bit. How does it do that? There we go. Okay, another circle. So that's for the cranium. And this time, instead of drawing a line down the middle, where it's in between the eyes and where the nose would be, draw it down this side. Because your nose is going to be sticking out there. And then remember, we do the chin and the jawline. Make sure that comes up roughly about the middle, or just past the middle. Jawline comes up, and then it goes up like that. So that's roughly the side-on head shape. Let me just adjust this. Get a bit more light on there. Okay, has everyone got that? Yep. Okay. Okay, so remember before I rubbed out this circle line. Keep that line in. Remember we did top and bottom, and then we found halfway. That's going to show us where the eye is. Now this time, yeah, the eye is still a sphere, so it's a big circle in there, but come a bit closer. You're just going to, oh, why? There we go. You're just going to see the curvature of the sphere, but then the eyelids going back. So it's like a little angle. You could draw a little eyelid on the top, eyelid on the bottom. You can do some eyelashes at the front if you wanted eyelashes. So the next thing we did was find the nose, which was halfway from this line to this line. So that's the bottom of the nose. So you can sort of pick how long you want the nose to be, how far it's coming out, and then bring it up sort of middle of the eye. You can draw a little nostril in there. Just going to rub out that construction line. What do I call my drawing? You mean the person? Do I give the person a name? I don't know. Let me see. What about Vanessa? Is that good enough? I think this one's going to be a man though. And we did the brow as well. So try and remember that circle of where the eyeball, the eye socket is. And don't just come straight up. Bring your brow a little bit forward. And then, so the brow you can draw almost all the way up. Mine's probably a bit low there. Let's fix it up. Don't want him to look like a caveman. Eyebrow, and then forehead. Goodness. Okay, now we're going to do the mouth. So remember, the mouth was halfway from under the nose to the chin. It's about there. Now, if you just gently like touch with your finger, just touch under your nose and run your finger to your lip and then to the top of your lip, you sort of get, I'll draw it a bit bigger over here. There's your nose. And it curves like that to your lip. There's your lip. Sure, it's a side on, right? So curve it down to your lip. It comes into where your mouth is in here. And then your bottom lip curves out. And then it goes in a little bit. And then you have your chin. Right? Can everyone feel that? Going just down a bit closer. Sort of side on. So you're coming up from the nose under to there and then around like that. That's the sort of shape you want to draw on here. But depending on, some people might have a really long section under their nose and a very thin lip. You know, and the mouth might be open, and then so their lips down like this. And then they might have a really big chin. So it depends on the kind of character you're drawing and how you want them to look. So try and remember the mouth's got to fit in sort of that area. So I'll zoom in a little bit while I do this, so you can try to follow along. So there's the top lip. It's very small. And there's the bottom lip. And the bottom lip sort of fits on like that. Gave him a small mouth. So that's sort of where the cheekbone's going to be there. Like, yeah, his mouth is very small. It'll get better with practice and looking at reference. You'll get better at drawing those kind of things. As I said, I should have had reference, but I'm not using any reference at all. Just drawing from my memory. Okay, so move this back up a little bit. Remember how we did the eye, the ear? We measured the ear that was somewhere between the eyebrow and the bottom of the nose. So we're not drawing just a little half ear now, we're drawing a full ear. So I've made this jawline a bit too big. Big curved ear like that. And then remember the ridge at the top, little button, and then the lobe underneath, and the inside hole, and another little ridge. And then, even though we've been putting on the detail, we're meant to do all the rough stuff first. The hairline, so it comes from the ear into the temple. Remember, it comes forward, goes back, and then to the front again. What are we seeing there? So you can do whatever kind of hair you want. I think this one's a bit more of a male, for me anyway. Putting on a bit of a neck there. You have a tendon that runs down the front of your neck. Oh, sorry, from the behind your ear down to the front of your neck. That's what that line is there. And then the hairline usually comes down like that. So it depends on what kind of hair you want to give them. Again, see, I might do a part there, do a part just here, so that I have this hair sort of coming forward. So I'm just sort of drawing shapes in where I think I might want the hair to flow. It's going to come back from there. Maybe he's got big sideburns. Could even have a beard. Why don't I do that? Why don't I give him a beard? Drawing around with a beard for a long time. So this will come down here. Enjoy his mustache. So now I have to fuzz up all of his chin and everything, give it some texture. And shade that in. Use the old rubber dub with a finger. Yeah, he's got a beard. Not quite sure what to do with his hair. Maybe it's a bit shaggy or a little bit long. Put some texture in it by drawing some more lines in. Make some other little bits long. Maybe his hair sort of flops down on one side of his face or the other side of his face. You can't really see it. See, then I can just shade it all in. Smudgery. There we go. I feel like he needs thicker, bushier eyebrows. So it looks like a wolf man. There we go. I'm sure it doesn't suck, Nathaniel. Why don't you show me? Let me have a look. Nathaniel, hold yours up. Let me see it. To the camera. Lower. That doesn't suck. That's pretty good. His nose is a bit flat, though. You can make his nose stick out more. I mean, he could have a flat nose. Some people do. Bianca, that's really nice. That's really good. Nice hair. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Liam, that's cool. So can you see how, lose my voice now. See how we went from drawing ahead from the front view to drawing ahead on the side view, how we use very similar methods by breaking the head down into halves, like that. And what you can do is what I just did with the other class, is where you have your head like this, and you get all your bits in. Right? You then get a ruler to draw lines across from all those important things, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the eyebrows, even that original circle. So you can then draw that, circle them again, but then draw it from the side. Because this isn't the same, but you get the idea. So you could draw the opposite of this one, or go back to this one. Sorry, where you camera's about to fall off. Where you use the lines. Oh, hang on. There we go. Where you use these lines that you draw from that across. Use a ruler to go across like so. Find the lip, find the nose, find the eye, find the brow, and the top of the head. So do all those lines all the way across to end up with, I'll get the ones from the last class, something like that. So I drew this one first, and I drew the lines across to figure out what it looks like from the side. But then here's a really simple one we did. So we drew this one first, and then figured out the side. Then we went back and did the 3/4, which is halfway between that. So that's something you guys can practice with drawing your big, realistic looking heads. And with that, we've got like 1 minute to go. So any questions before we go? Does anyone feel like it was too hard for them? Or did you enjoy that? Was it good? Okay. What are people talking about in here? Drawings are so, Evan, your drawings are so fast and your drawings look so professional. How long have you been doing drawing? Well, I'm 44 years old. I've been drawing since I could write, basically. As soon as I could hold a pencil, I've been drawing. So it is a lot of practice. And that's just it. You just have to keep drawing, and you just get more and more practice. Have a lot of reference, as I said, whether it's photo reference, or at the moment I'm coloring some models for a game. These are like little alien dudes. I'm painting them. So here's one I painted. So what I'm doing is I'm looking up reference. It's a bit hard to see because you like sand and stuff and rocks painted. Finding reference to paint all these other ones to see sort of what color schemes I can use and stuff on that. So I'll show you these ones. There's like a whole bunch that I'm painting, and I'm putting rocks and things on there, on their bases. So there's different things that are keeping me creative and thinking. So I'm designing aliens and designing color schemes and things like that. So you're always going to be doing something creative. Peter, we are out of time.
I think we are out of time. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the class. Can you take the photos of your favorite drawing and send it to us, Brilliant Kids? For now, I'm going to unmute everyone. Say goodbye to Mr. Evan.
Bye.
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 Nice drawing
Bye,
with you.
everyone. I see you next week.
Bye.